views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast are the content creator's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Essex County College. The material and information presented here is for entertainment and informative purposes only. It should not be considered as professional advice or a substitute for seeking professional guidance.
So it's been a while since I last recorded an episode of The Loner, and as you can see, I decided that I tried to submit an episode of The Loner episode 9 on the film festival, and that never made it in, not even the Raw's Critiques pilot. So today I decided to make a special episode because not only, of course, you've missed out the main tour of the Sinsford Experience tour of the Sinsford Festival, I've also missed out on opportunities to continue with the film club. And so today it's just going to be an episode where I get to say goodbye to the film club because I feel like it is a place where you belong, but at the end of the day, it's like I've never contributed to anything special to them. That I decided that at the end of the day, I was completely left out of the club photo, and maybe I won't be seen again at all. So as you can see, we have the ACC Film Festival presented by the Film Club, and we have Asa, Professor Rager, we have David, Izzy, Jay Sean, Jerry, Matthew, and William, and I was never credited at all. So I'm not going to say, of course, that they don't. It's like, I guess my question to all this is, was it really worth going to the film club? At the end of the day, what did I really contribute out of that club? Aside from just only contributing to one thing. I've only contributed to only one film, and that was only Carousel. I was like the sole photographer and the BT. I was only the sole photographer for that film, which Jerry did showcase some photos out of his ECC ads. I actually don't remember what I'm talking about, but on the Discord server, I saw a promotion ad on Jerry's ECC ad on the film club. So luckily that was shown, but even then, I've also recorded a documentary, not a documentary, but I've recorded some BTS footage on Carousel, which I produced under as Wednesday at Military Park. So it was some basic editing using a Sony CV10. If there's like one thing I've did learn out of it, if there's one thing I've learned out of this process, is like you're always going to need a recorder, because once you have a sound recorder, you can always just use a boom mic and improve the sound quality than just instead of your built-in microphone from the camera itself. And so once you go into DaVinci, then you can always learn how to go ahead and sync in audio. And so that's where I still struggle in. But even then, I'm still experimenting with audio. I'm still experimenting with video, even though I'm actually getting into video editing again. Although I will now be going independent instead of continuing with the film club for another semester. And so that's just the reason why I'm going to be saying goodbye to the film club, because I haven't contributed to anything. I felt like, of course, I felt like I was alone this whole time. Even if I did make something, I still haven't contributed to anything. So again, of course, I appreciate him, and even Richard's not even showed, even though he also did some large contributions more than I did. But again, it really is what it is. So we have like 21 films in total. We have all the little things, which included some jazz music, Anxiety, which was just which felt like a last minute submission on CapCut. Wrestling documentary that I've actually enjoyed. Happy Before, which that music video, I would like to thank Richard for inspiring me, because when I did looked at his music video again multiple times, I just had this brilliant idea where maybe I will think of making a whole music video myself, but not as a local band, but as under my own persona, XJ24, which hopefully, if I do decide to release my own album or my own EP, again, it will be called My Soul Has Moved On. So hopefully, of course, I have an idea of what I'm going to be. Hopefully I will get some idea and then understand whether I should produce as an EP or as an album. Maybe very soon I'll release that and probably promote that under as a music video for the film festival if they ever do another one. So again, special thanks to the right writer's room, I think. But I'm not trying to be illiterate. And then next up we have A Moment of Silence, another decent film itself, even though I feel like if you watch closely, the quality can crush in as well. So the quality itself crushing even if you produce it in 6K, 4K, and that's just why I decided to make my own show in HD 1080p because I don't think my computer itself, the Asus Zephyrus G16, is going to run in or even render a proper 4K video. Even though my own camera actually has the potential of doing 4K video, I feel like it's probably time for me to go in and just start upgrading my laptop into a desktop. So maybe I'll get a MacBook Air, maybe I'll get another Asus laptop with 32 gigabytes of RAM, or maybe just get a 24 gigabytes worth of content on a Mac Mini, and I can use my TV as a monitor. And even though it may not be color accurate as it is, I can still off. It's probably better off that I just buy a laptop with. It would be better off if I decided maybe it's just probably I would just go on and just buy a laptop with color accuracy, and that way I probably wouldn't have that way I wouldn't buy a monitor at all. So like that way I feel like it would be delusional if I said that. And now the next film we have enjoyed, which was just a decent film, but I don't remember much out of it. Out of Place is just relatable, even though the pacing itself wasn't really as good as it is. It felt a bit slow at times, but at the end of the day, it's just from a known filmmaker. Still a relatable film, even though he felt alone, of course, in the Professor Wager's class. And I felt alone when I was and I actually felt alone when I was in the film club, back in the physical education. Not physical education, but at the gymnasium itself. So as I'm departuring, I don't really think they're going to be seeing me again. And then we have Carousel, which again I've only contributed to stills photography, which was released, except for the PTS footage behind it. Wednesday at Military Park. That content that I produced and filmed filmed, and edited, well to this day it's still unreleased. And then we have Imagine, which was just a personal film. And either way, of course, the soundtrack to that song was Radiohead's Creep. And then we have the Essex County Murderers, which felt like a horror film. It had some humor, it had some like analog horror type of film near the end. But otherwise, I felt like it was just more like a horror film. Even if it had some slight humor in it, it was slightly funny. But otherwise, that's just the only thing I'll say. And then we have some back-to-back projects produced by Instant Friends Productions, which included Ghosting. That film deserved its nominee, its win for the best picture of the year. Well, not best picture for the Film Class Festival, and that's why the Thursday show wasn't really underwhelming. But the Thursday show, I've actually enjoyed that more than today's show, Friday's show, because it was slightly underwhelming, and even then I really felt like I would rather off just stay home. But I decided to do this episode because why not? Actually, that was the weirdest way. That's the most weirdest thing I've ever did. Anyways, aside from that, Ghosting and Yearn, both films won, and all the editing was made by Issa. And then we have some panels, panels, it is what it is. Panels are just commentaries and discussing more about the films itself based on those previous films. A Burning Hill, which was just a forgettable music video itself, that I would still prefer the previous music video that I saw at the first half. Petals of a Lily was overall the best film that I saw, aside from. Actually, there were some back-to-back films that I've enjoyed the most. And aside from Ghosting, we had Petals of a Lily, and then we had Memories and Rewind. That I've actually enjoyed the editing in that. Waiting for a Yes was just another film that Jasmine did, and then Presto, which was it was just an Allison film. So Presto was just like a magic show. That's all I can remember. Therapist was just another film that Group 2 produced, but when it came to Group 1, I really don't think none of the films really made it in at all. So Therapist made it in, but I don't think there was a film that made it into the Day of Light. I don't really remember what film it was, but originally I was supposed to be the sound operator for that film, and then later on, when we were out of ideas, we were out of creativity, they never said anything about me ever again. Afterwards, I just felt like I just felt like I've disappeared out of that club, and I was never recognized at all. So afterwards, I just said it was just time for me to leave because why am I still going to that club every week when I'm not really doing and when I'm not really doing anything. Our conversation was just overall sort of a boring film, but I wouldn't offend him as saying it's a boring film. But I wouldn't really. I just again I didn't remember. I haven't remembered much about that film. And even so, I would still prefer Journey even if this was his film, alongside with Petals of a Lily. And then there was Theater Kills. That was the last film of the day, or in that case, the last film that they showed in before they showed in behind the scenes for that same film. It was again another horror film. So at least it was another film that he said it as well. So that's just why I decided that Issa was just like the mastermind of editing, and meanwhile I was just more like an underground person, like as an underground visual that was slightly misunderstood. And that's the end of the day. I just feel like at the end, I just feel like when I started Ghost City Incorporated, the company itself was just built out of frustration, mostly because they haven't contributed to anything, and so maybe why not? It's like if I decided they have their own business and some friends has their own business, then why not I just start my own company? Why didn't I just start up my own one man production? And that's why I decided to revive Inahuazo Studios because that used to be a thing, even if it was fictional. But I just never liked doing reaction videos over again. That I decided to just quickly abandon that idea, and that's why Ghost City was born because it was a one man production company that will not receive it, that will not have an LLC, but it's still going to remain itself as an independent production company itself, even as a record label if it can. But for now, I would call it as Ghost City Incorporated, loneliness, but with a hidden passion. In that case, would be the slogan itself. So otherwise, the Friday show was underwhelming. Thursday show, I actually enjoyed that. I actually did enjoy that show because it felt like a whole festival to me. It felt like a whole show to me, rather than just watching films and just calling it a day. Anyways, but I think I said enough about this one. So I don't really think I have anything else to say, but I like to thank Issa, of course, for learning, for understanding on video editing. Well, not understanding on video editing, but I'd like to thank Issa for inspiring me to further experiment on video editing because when I started using DaVinci Resolve, maybe it's like I first used DaVinci Resolve, I just never understood it at first, but then when I started the editing process alone at home, that's when I realized I just no longer needed the film club anymore. And I think that's just the reason why I feel like that was just the reason why I'm deciding to leave the film club. Not just quit the film club itself, but just leave them alone and start my own business and just start my own business. Maybe it's just better off that if I decide that it's probably that because I'm just rambling on for a few minutes and then getting back on track, it's better off that I just need to start making a script, and then once I do have a script, maybe the show will enhance, but even I'll misunderstand some of my points. So that's just the reason why I decided. Some shows do work good on paper, but sometimes it just doesn't at all. That's why a majority of their films also were scrapped because of that. But otherwise, that's just from what I remember. So I would like to wish of good luck to all the new members of the film club if they do decide to join in, because afterwards I actually will be leaving the film club to pursue my film itself and to pursue my own career. Even though making films isn't going to be an official career, but rather as a multimedia artist, and then maybe Express New York will likely be a higher potential than just going to a film club that's full of amateurs. Even though I wouldn't call them amateurs, but as beginners who are turning into professionals or the intermediate ones. So maybe if I have my own film, then hopefully I'll get a win. Like hopefully I'll win something out of this. Hopefully I'll gain something out of it. But that's all I can say for now. So once again, I'd like to say goodbye to the film club. It's been a nice pleasure to join in for 5 months and so, 4 months at best. But if you're again, I'll say this. We'll go ahead and restate this again. It's like if I no longer have a purpose to go on and record something, if I don't have any roles that I would like to contribute next, then it's like maybe it's just better off that I stop going to their club and just focus more on my courses. And that's because the next club that the next club I will be joining will likely either be the 360 Art Club or the music club itself. Hopefully I'll get I'll receive an audience there. And if I do decide to join on the 360 Art Club, then that's when I'll decide to make an animated film, but with live action as well. That way, it should more like be as an experimental short film that I will be producing. So not just only as a film itself, but as a short film, just as a short film. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's not just only a short film, but it's also a music video as well. So hopefully, if I do submit that on the next film festival, hopefully that's gonna be better than all the projects that I've did. But otherwise, that's all I got to say here. And once again, I'm just rambling on. I'm just already rambling on. That I might as well just give you guys the end of the episode. I might as well just give you guys my last take on my last take. And the last thing I would like to talk about is the challenge video, or is that last quote that I've made. Unless you're making challenge videos, they're overrated. That, of course, that quote itself was just improvised because I've decided maybe it's just better off if I do an outro. And I've already thought of challenge videos. I've thought of what YouTube does and I've thought of commentary. I've thought of all that. But I realized how you can become a YouTuber. You can be successful by acting stupid. And that's just why with challenge videos itself, I just feel like they're overrated. They're just overdoing the same things. Like you're overproducing a single video to where you're just starting to become a Mr. Beast wannabe. And that's just what I don't want to do with my YouTube channel itself, XG24. That's why I decided to start producing my pilot episode, Raw's Critiques, because I'm just talking about because I'm just doing a meta commentary on critiques and criticism itself. So if you ever want to know more about feedback and if you ever want to know more about the series, then I would highly suggest to go on XG24, my personal YouTube channel, of course, and search up Raw's Critiques pilot episode, and stay tuned, of course, because maybe I'll do another episode, maybe I won't, but make sure to go to XG24 and make sure you watch how not to criticize a cartoon. This pilot episode I produced in college will be available in the public as soon as this episode gets released. And so after this episode is released, then I will be releasing my pilot episode, which will be known as previously unreleased content. And this probably means it's probably time for me to go back to YouTube, even though over time I will be enhancing the quality out of the sound. I will be enhancing the quality, at least not for the camera, but for the computer itself. So that's all. So that's literally all I'm going to be saying here. And so that's all I got to say for now on the Loner. So hope you guys enjoyed the special episode, and hopefully I'll be glad that as soon as I join in three more courses for the summer, I'll be taking a break and maybe consider a summer job so I can improve and start my own production company for real. And then maybe that's when I'll start taking Ghost City series, more serious than this semester itself and the summer semester, including those 2 semesters as well. So I think that's enough. That's enough rambling. I think I'm going to be showcasing. Anyways, I will now be showcasing the unreleased episode of the Loner, which is a vlog of the Students First Festival. This was edited. This was all edited, all filmed, shot, edited, and sound mixed by me, Jon Inahuazo. So hope you guys enjoyed this. That's gonna be the way I'm going to be ending the show off. So hope you guys enjoyed this short video, and until then, I will catch you guys in 2 weeks with some new content and with some more topics here on the Loner. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Students First Festival, otherwise as the Loner episode 9. You're now about to see unreleased material. Hey y'all, this is Jon Inahuazo, and welcome back to another episode of The Loner. And to compromise all of the lost audio and for me to record all this video in slow motion, I'm going to be narrating this whole tour. So as you can see, we have all these posters and the SGA president, which in that case would be the Students Government Associations, although I don't really care much about politics, but today we're going to be talking about, well, as you can see on the poster, we have the Students First Festival, and that's what we're going to be looking at now. Now we're going to be going to the Dash Center, where we're going to be going outside, and, well, you'll be needing a student ID card if you enter, so hopefully we have that. So as you can see, we're going to be going inside and up to campus, and in that case we have all the clubs, and the first up we're looking at is the Essex County College Alumni Association. So if you're a graduating student, then you can apply here and become an alumni, even though I don't really know how to pronounce it. Then we have the multicultural and diverse clubs, and I feel like that would be interesting if I were Ecuadorian, and of course I am Ecuadorian. But for this club itself, I have no idea where I would want to rejoin it, because I already said it already, I have no plans or any purpose here. Now we're going to be going to the podcast club, where I belong. And we have all these shows here, and as you can see, we have our new series, Just Be You with Jerry Johnson. So if you haven't listened to that as well, then make sure you listen to that, because I'll discuss this again next time. Now we're going to be going to the cafeteria, where I get to eat something, which we have some popcorn, some slushies. And I think we have all these cool red things, which in that case would be cherry. But otherwise it's more like a graphical experience. And now before I do go on to the next segment, I also would like to appreciate and talk more about the poetry club, because I've realized that I haven't went upstairs, and so if there's any other clubs that I didn't went to, then I'd like to apologize, but maybe that will be the next time. And now before I do go, let me reintroduce you to Mr. Ott. And I would like to thank him, because without him I would have never continued this whole show. And hopefully if I did have any audio, then I would have gave you an extra from him. Otherwise, he's more of a kind person. I appreciate him. I appreciate all his efforts made at Essex County College. I would like to give kudos to him, and not just him, but I also like to thank Issa. And a word of update: if you haven't listened to the original cut already, turns out Ghosting won, and Yearn also won some multiple awards. My submissions never made it in. Anyways, now our last stop of our tour, we have the equipment for the music club, including this keyboard, we have all the mixers and some drums. And if you also want to do some guitars and some drums, I think I already said this already, but we also have some bass. And I forgot to mention Studio Lane as well, but we also have one more club. Aside from that, I'm going to keep this whole show raw, and in that case most might take it raw. But I think that's going to be the end of the tour, so otherwise it's just more of a graphical experience. And so, hope you guys enjoyed this mini tour of the Dash Center, and until then, I will catch you guys in 2 weeks with another episode, and I've recorded this already, so stay tuned.
This has been a production of the Essex County College Podcast Club. Copyright 2024, all rights reserved.